Hello, welcome back to Think Rugby podcast. Oh my life. Controversy down under in South Africa. Now. I've been waiting to speak about this for, since it happened. Right, Andy, you know what I'm on about. I think the viewers will know exactly what I'm on about. Going by the thumbnail, I think you'll be convinced that you know what we're on about. Well done, Andy. Wow. So, how did Ford start? Full-time score, Munster vs the Sharks, 24 all. Doesn't often happen, but we got a penalty shootout, or a penalty kick-off, whatever you want to call it, in rugby, in the way of rugby. So kicking for the posts. I mean, I think you do one in the front, one to the left, one to the right. Then you take it back to the 10-metre line from the 22, then do middle, left, right. It's very, it happens, very uncommon, but we got it. I mean, usually a great sight, but for this instance, maybe not such a great sight in terms of controversy and also just unsportsmanlike conduct. Now, Andy, you do know what I'm on about. First of all, you don't have to describe what happened, but how do you feel about the situation?
Yeah, not half as upset about it as what you were when you seen it. I'm still kind of processing what hill I'm willing to die on. I'm still thinking about it.
Yeah, so maybe won't repeat the words that I used to show my frustration at the actual instance. So, basically, cut a long story short, penalty shootout in rugby. Jack Crowley, cool as ice, usually off the tee. Jack Crowley, he doesn't miss many. He's a very good kicker. Some might say just as good as Prendergast, but that's a story for another day. Hendrickse, the scrummy for the Sharks, pulled a little kind of sickie, if you like. He went down cramping right beside Jack Crowley. Now, yes or no, Andy? Was he injured?
To be honest, it didn't look like it, no.
I fully agree with you. No. What suggests that? Maybe a nice little wink that he gave. I think it was Jack Crowley he gave the wink to. He gave somebody a wink, but he was caught in 4K. And I mean, I sent you the TikTok. The cameraman picked up himself, caught an absolute 4K, and had absolute gall and cheek to stick about and still give it the gift of the gab. And Hendrickse give the gift of the gab to Crowley, try to chat shit and everything, try to put him off as much as he can. Now, you know something. You like to have characters in rugby. I love having a character. For example, a character would have been back in the day. Would have been Nick Cummins, I believe his name was, the Honey Badger, the guy with the mullet, the Australian guy with the mullet, came out with like one-liners, absolutely just like so funny. You get other boys. I mean, you could say Henry Pollock. He'd be like the modern kind of character in rugby. Ruffling a couple of feathers, just with the kind of things he does. The what do you call it? Stone Cold Celebration. Stuff like that, the stuff he comes out with in the media. Now, Hendrickse, I don't mind all that kind of stuff, celebration wise and everything, a bit of mind games. But you get mind games, then you get just being a complete and utter twat. And that's the word that I use worse. I was putting it kindly for me, because I used it a lot worse in our little conversation. And I know a way to say, I know you're going to say I've got an agenda against South Africans. I don't. No, this is solely Jaden Hendrickse. I believe his name is Jaden Hendrickse. It was ridiculous, and we'll get onto the topic of maybe like repercussions in a minute. But I was fizzing. The fact he went down and winked and also started chatting, tried to put Crowley off, and to make it even better, Crowley even scored it, so it didn't even make a difference. But that's not the point. So repercussion-wise, Andy, I mean, you know my kind of thought and how angry, but I've had a chance to calm down. I've calmed down now. Repercussion-wise, do you think that grants any sort of maybe suspension, fine? I wouldn't say kick Sharks out. They won the game. I mean, at the end of the day, that actual instant didn't matter because Crowley still kicked the penalty. But would you say there should be any repercussions to the team or the player or any of the staff involved in that?
Well, I'm not sure if it deserves further to be any repercussions, but it's very clear that there will not be any repercussions. You said it didn't make any difference. I mean, I agree with you. For context, that was Hendrickse had just taken his second kick, so at the time the score would have been 4-2 before Munster Crowley would have went up to take Munster's fourth kick, his second.
Yeah.
So Munster had already missed, and I have to say it was quite embarrassing, the miss that they had, considering the other kicks that they had to try and nail. But that's by the by.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, to answer your question, no, I can see why Munster were quite pissed off, but I don't think anything is going to happen, especially when Rassie Erasmus himself has gotten involved.
Of course, but it was only a matter of time until he came out and spoke. But if it I can guarantee if it happened, if it was maybe a Scottish team, or if he Munster himself, he would have had something to say about Munster doing it against a South African team. But whereas if it was maybe Leinster, Scarlets or something, for example, and that happened, then I think he would stay quiet and just kind of let that one kind of go under the radar. But I think he had to come out, because obviously with his heavy involvement with his home nation, South Africa, and try to defend it and try kind of brush it under the carpet, if you like, which I think will happen. For me, I would probably give... It's a hard one because you just don't know who decided. He was maybe told to do it by the background staff, by the coaching staff. Obviously he did it, but he could have said no. But it's very hard to do it if you get pressured like that in that kind of situation. Or he maybe just decided to do it himself. So, I mean, who knows? It's a hard one to kind of prove. Will there be an investigation? Probably not. Like I say, it didn't really put off Crowley too much with the kick. But in terms of sportsmanship, goodness me, like it was piss poor. It was, and hopefully we don't see that again. Like I say, I don't mind characters in rugby. You get characters, but then you just get folk generally just trying to ruffle feathers and have a really negatively impact the game. That's why I feel that what happened on Saturday for that game. But anyway, that's by the by. Congratulations to Sharks. You're in the semi-final. We'll get back to you in just a moment as we give our semi-final predictions. So, next game. What I would say is probably one of the best games Glasgow's played this season. It wasn't a complete performance, but they played very, very well. So Glasgow vs the Stormers.
Yeah, I mean, Glasgow bet a Stormers team that kind of made a lot of unforced errors at the wrong time. A few times they were in Glasgow's 22. There was a knock-on, there was a spill, a fumble. This was by no means Glasgow at their very best, but compared to what they've been the last 6 weeks, this was a vast, vast improvement. Tuipulotu was back, Cummins was properly back up and firing. Tom Jordan really stole the show. I had a look at some of his stats after the game. 4 clean breaks, 8 defenders beaten, and 100 metres made. Now, that's pretty good going in one single game, let alone a URC quarter-final, albeit at home.
And a fly half.
Yeah, and a fly half.
And a fly half as well. So I think you look at the highlights of it, like the highlight reel of just Tom Jordan's clean breaks, just dancing around defenders. And I mean, it literally turned like no momentum into complete momentum. I was really impressed with Tom Jordan. Absolutely gutted that he's leaving, and he's going to be a massive, massive miss. And what a great signing for Bristol Bears, by the way. That's a huge addition to their squad. But again, we'll go get into Bristol Bears later on. But back to Glasgow, they've got through to the semi-finals. Like I say, Tuipulotu, he had his Gruber kick through assist. He had that missed pass which led to, I think it was Kerr Rowe's try as well. He was just George Horn's try. My apologies. He was honestly just phenomenal. Speaking of George Horn as well, we've not even mentioned George Horn yet. How good was he? He's always seems to be at the right place at the right time. And you said you said it off camera. You can say it again if you want.
I can't fathom why he doesn't get more of a look in for Scotland.
Crazy.
By far the best scrum half we have.
Exactly. Anyone that scores points, is a good player. But the fact he's now Glasgow's top try scorer of all time, and he's overtaken a winger who was there for quite a long time, DTH Van der Merwe. But now it's George Horn. He has been there since he was young, but George Horn's still like in his prime years. He's not like past it yet. He's still got probably a good, I'd say, 5 or 6 seasons left in him. He's maybe not reached his ceiling yet. Maybe this is in his prime year. It's definitely him in his prime years, and he's showing it. Get him in that Scotland set ASAP, please. Because as good as Ben White is, you always need that bit of competition and somebody just to add that kind of bit of fizz if structure's not going well. The best player in my opinion, in URC, for just kind of open play and just kind of being there at the right place at the right time, the open play is George Horn. And
Yeah, if your game style was purely heads up rugby, you would win virtually every single game if you had George Horn in your team. I firmly believe.
It helps that he played sevens for Scotland as well at the time for a while, but it helps that, and he's also transitioned those skills, and he's become a really, really well mature scrum half that can turn it on when he wants, and boy, he turned it on Saturday. Then again, he's got the control with it as well. Excellent. I'm just absolutely delighted, and I've got this is momentum wise. This is brilliant because Stormers. I mean, they're not a slouch of a team whatsoever. No, the South African team is, but especially the Stormers, and they did get proper beat. A lot of people were tipping Stormers to turn up and actually win the game. Even I was a bit unsure.
Yeah.
They put it out. It's absolute sight. 36-18, doubled the score. Yeah, doubled the score. Quick math.
No, I mean, I just think that unless Leinster have a bit of an off day, Glasgow will struggle against them next week. They're away to the Viva, and spoilers, folks, Leinster bet Scarlets in what was quite a forgettable game. The stadium was empty, but staying with Glasgow for just a second, they conceded 16 penalties, yet they won the game. You concede 16 penalties against Leinster, you will pay. You will not win the game. Having said that, though, he seems to be doing the rounds on social media quite a lot. Sam Prendergast, he's looking like a real defensive liability for Leinster. And I don't know, part of me thinks he could get hooked and dropped for this game, because if he's up against Tom Jordan making 4 clean breaks and 8 defenders beaten, how many points would that be you're conceding because of one player?
Yep. I've not got much to say. I'm going to let you get all the flack in the comments for saying that. I'm just going to stay quiet this week. Exactly. Real men. Oh, by the way, let us know what your predictions are and how you thought the games went this past weekend. Also, let us know what you thought of Sam Prendergast and Tom Jordan. How good was he? Okay. I mean, going on to Leinster, 33-21. Prendergast, I mean, bit of a slip up. I think his confidence has really been knocked since not getting the Lions tour.
I'm not sure about his confidence because he's still performing pretty well with the goal kicking and his attacking sense of play. But I think a lot of teams are now quite clearly looking at how he plays defensively, and I think that's why the Scarlets were able to get so much points at the weekend. I predicted Leinster to win by 15, and the scoreline wasn't far away from that. I think everybody's getting wise and kind of analysing, keeping a better eye on him, kind of thing.
Look, if he's a young lad in the public eye, it must be tricky. But maybe Leinster do not the honourable thing, but the morally correct thing, and maybe take him out the limelight a little bit. Have somebody else playing. Well, probably on the Frawley probably wouldn't go 10. To be fair, they'd have the Frawley be 15. You could put Frawley 10. To be fair, it wouldn't be an awful shout. But you never know. Prendergast might start shining under the pressure. He's playing Glasgow, who, I mean, you alluded to the penalties. If a Glasgow managed to write off the penalties and even half that amount of penalty count, it could be very interesting going into the Viva, Leinster vs Glasgow, for this first semi-final of the URC Cup. So the last game, which to be fair, I never really watched. I didn't really watch much of it. I know the scoreline. I know the kind of rough kind of ins and outs of it. But did you watch kind of Bulls vs Edinburgh? Oh no, you did watch Bulls vs Edinburgh. Sorry, my apologies. You did watch it. I was the one that was slacking that. I had that day. Sorry. Go on then, Andy. Tell me what happened.
So we'll start things off. I put it onto X. I put it onto Twitter, whatever you want to call that platform. Edinburgh should have been playing against 14 men for the majority of that game.
For 10 minutes at best, to be fair.
What happened was, and if it wasn't like a knockout game, a quarter-final, Darcy Graham had the ball in his hands, and this was, 3rd or 4th minute in the game, chips it up and over, and the Bulls guy, he's, the balls went over him or whatever, so he's turned and he's just left his shoulder in like that, square into the face. His thinking is, right, he's gotten past me, I'm going to leave one on him. hits the head, and I'm sorry, there is no attempt to rap. He was just, the intent was there. Hit his head, red card. You ken it's Darcy Graham, you ken he's a small player, like, it should have been a straight red, end of, and I'm usually quite defensive of referees and everything, and how everything is, it happens very quickly for them. The referee bottled it. That should have been a straight red card for that Bulls guy, and that
Did
would have
Dar-
made a serious difference in the outcome of that game.
did Darcy go for an HIA?
Yeah.
He did, aye. And you get back on.
He came back on, and I have to say, as much as we're on about Tom Jordan and Jamie Ritchie and Rory Darge, being a bit aggrieved of being looked over for the Lions tour, like, they went away this weekend and had reasonable enough games. I thought Darcy Graham was playing okay, but after that incident, he looked very like he was trying too hard and he was getting caught out. I think one of the tries in the second half, if not two, he was jumping out of position, getting a bit too excited, rather than actually just holding his ground and keeping the depth and, just trying to mark up the space. Edinburgh, though, they started the game very, very well. The Bulls came back into it. Beginning of the second half, that was just such a Scottish thing to do. They conceded 3 tries, all in quick succession, and that just... As soon as that third try went in, I was like, no, that's it. Edinburgh came back, and although the resurgence amounted to fuck all, it was quite spiriting to see, okay, we've conceded what, like 5, 6 tries or whatever now, we're still going to keep on, and they got 2 tries back.
I was about to say, but it's actually just very nice to see a second Scottish team in like the quarterfinals and top 8, albeit that they're 7th, but they still managed to get in there. So, and it was, like I say, looking at the highlights and looking at what I've read, I never really thought it looked like kind of dominating in taking like any sort of like comfortable lead going later into the game. Like I said, I think once the third try went in, like you said, probably too far gone. Looking at the score updates as well, I was like, oh, this isn't looking too good actually. But you never
Is
know.
that the score updates from me on WhatsApp?
It was. It was. So I had a busy Saturday. I watched the Glasgow game on Friday, but busy Saturday. Can't get them all. But yeah, so out of all those quarterfinals, out of all the quarterfinals, I'd probably say the best one, the most entertaining one, was the Glasgow one. Probably because we're both rooting for Glasgow, and because we were probably quite unsure. With confidence, but still unsure. I think even just to oversee the Sharks Munster game, even though still a decent game of rugby, of course, with the added kind of penalty shootout without the controversy, that makes it a bit more interesting as well. But I would still say Glasgow. Really good display. Some of the tries scored, I mean, it's just again phenomenal, phenomenal rugby. It's what you like to see. And Scotland's such a good stadium. See, atmosphere wise, absolutely brilliant. Also, it was near enough a sellout from what I was seeing. There were a couple of mates down there as well, and they said it was just absolutely fantastic. But won't get to be playing at Scotstoun for the rest of the year. If that's right, that's the last game at Scotstoun until next season. So good luck, Glasgow. Hopefully, do one over Leinster. Very hard, very, very, very hard place to go. But we'll see what happens. It probably won't be empty. It probably will be more or less full. So it's a semi-final against.
I don't know.
Really?
You know how you say you're pleasantly surprised about something? I've been the opposite. I've been a bit shocked at how a lack of rugby fans have turned up to the Aviva for Leinster. I mean, I'm just going to say this in context. I know that there's a lot of ticket issues for the European games, and that was kind of getting the blame, but I'm surprised at how poorly Leinster are not filling out even like that bottom tier at the Aviva. I flicked it on my phone and the atmosphere was dead. And I was like, this is meant to be a URC quarterfinal at the Aviva, Leinster, and the atmosphere is dead. I couldn't quite work it out. And you think back to how much Leinster have sold out, or not even sold out, but like properly gotten all these fans to these big games in Ireland. Like, they had 80,000 against Munster at Croke Park, and you're like, aye, boys, you're struggling to even get a third of the Aviva sold out. Like, what's going on?
something maybe to digest and kind of investigate more to why that is. But I literally have no answers to it. I honestly, I do expect a better turnout.
Let us know in the comments.
No, please do. No, please do. No, I definitely expect a better turnout for next week. It's got to be semi-final. Like I say, the stakes are higher. I mean, Leinster, okay, they finished top, but what does that account for if they get beat on Saturday? It means nothing. So Leinster needs something. Leinster needs some sort of silverware. It's been a while.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
So what would your prediction be for that game then?
Oh, I'm feeling brave. Generally, with now the fact that like Tuipulotu, Cummins was playing, Glasgow seemed to have recovered a little bit. Because we're a bit worried about the injury list. They seem to have slightly recovered a bit, not fully, but a wee bit. I'm going to say Glasgow by 4 points. Yourself?
My heart says Glasgow, but my head says no. You can't look past the amount of injuries up front that they have.
The last time I went to the Viva, it was 5 points to 13, which was not a bad result whatsoever.
That's true, but it was again a very dead rubber game.
Don't mention the time before though.
No, well, that was 52-0. I mean, yeah, it was an improvement, but it was a dead rubber game, and so long as Glasgow showed face and didn't look like total mugs, that was kind of a victory for them, an improvement. I hate to say it, but I think Leinster by 10. I think Leinster have got too much in the tank.
Ooh.
I could be wrong. I mean, as I said, it depends on how much fans come into the stadium, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'll even put it up on screen right now. I sent it to you on WhatsApp, but Leinster put up a thing about how, oh yeah, well, when we welcome Glasgow for the semi-finals or whatever. Now, the tweet got deleted, and sadly I didn't screenshot that tweet, but
Yeah.
I screenshotted the boy's tweet, who I liked, basically saying, yeah, we need to win our game first, and then we're potentially going to be playing Glasgow.
Mm-hmm. Man's got balls. Well, obviously not if he deleted it, but had balls. I guess he was right in the end, but you can't be dismissive of Scarlets, as we know. They are not. But to be fair, you couldn't be, because that was a much better result. That was against a stronger Leinster team that they faced compared to last time, and they still lost by 12. Not too bad at the Viva as well, so not bad at all. Okay, right. So I'm going to say, like I said, Glasgow by 4. The other semi-final, Bulls vs the Sharks. I just hope Bulls put a number on them. I really, really, really do. Just after what's happened and just the controversy, I'm still not over it. I just hope Bulls put a big number on them.
Yeah, I can't see that happening. I mean, Edinburgh should, even like what I've just said about how many players should have been in the park. They limped to victory against Edinburgh. Although they put 42 on them, they still limped to victory. I can't see anything but a Sharks win. The Sharks have got all their monsters playing, like Etzebeth, Khaleesi, all of them.
Yeah, tough one. But I'm going to anyway. Like I'd say, just a number. It could be a 1 point, it could be 10 points, it could be 50 points. Not going to be 50 points, but
15 to the Sharks.
Okay, I'll go 15 to the Bulls. Deal.
Moving on.
Last thing. The Gallagher Premiership has their top 4. Now, I've been a little quiet in the Gallagher Prem, more because the UFC. Andy, you can wake it up. Hey, I you know what? Whatever. You can ignore Andy there. So the Gallagher Premiership, been a bit quiet about it, but you lovely fellows, especially guys living in England and South West, where I used to live, take a good interest into this, as you'd expect, being your kind of country's league. So Gallagher Prem have their top 4 into the playoffs. Well done to Bath, who absolutely stormed that league. I think they started playing their second string team about 4 or 5 games ago, and they still absolutely stormed the league. They didn't win every game, but the thing is, you don't have to. They still absolutely just bossed it. Then you had, I think, Leicester Tigers actually finished second. Look at not a wee bit of a late resurgence from them, but just finished the season very, very strong. Then you had Sale Sharks, and then you had Bristol Bears at 4th. So I actually predicted 3 of them 4 teams to be in the top 4. I predicted Bath to win it. I predicted Northampton to finish second, which they finished like 8th or something, or 9th. Then I predicted, I think it was Sarries and then Bristol Bears. No, not Sarries, sorry. No, I predicted Bristol Bears, then Sale. And that Sale was a dark kind of horse. We can go back and check previous episodes and fact check on it, but Sale was definitely the dark horse there. And they actually finished third. They had a very solid season. And I think what helped Sale was the fact they've not got too many internationals in their squad. So when like the Six Nations that came around, they were still able to be semi-dominant. And they had their setbacks. They had say Marceli Naiklevu, the Fijian captain. He must have played about 2 games, played absolutely awful. Something was going on because he then went on a short-term deal in Wales. I think it was the Scarlets possibly. I don't even think he played for them. And now he just completely just kind of went off the face of the earth, completely off the radar. So that was one setback. In the Six Nations, you did lose Curry, and you also lost Curry's, and they also lost Cowan Dickey, but they seemed to kind of cope all right with that. I mean, they would have had Augustin Cravey, I believe, but now not anymore because he retired. Happy retirement, Augustin Cravey from last week, but definitely had Cowan Dickey missing because now Cowan Dickey's a kind of pivotal role in that England team again. Yeah, he was left out for a while, but now he's back in. So they'll have had their setbacks, but I think generally the kind of squad is players who are on the brink of international call-up, but not quite. So they do seem to cope, and it's kind of worked. George Ford at 10, absolute player. I'm sorry, George Ford, if he's not got 100 caps, he's nearly, I think he's at 99 or something caps for England.
And I think it is 99, yeah.
And you wouldn't even generally wouldn't expect it, because especially with Faz being in the mix for so long. And that kind of proves like how much a quality player and how valued he actually is. Now you've got Finn Smith and Marcus Smith, he's not getting a sniff. I would still have him in there, to be honest, because I still think game management wise, he's just top draw. Especially, like I say, with players who aren't quite as strong as compared to Northampton and Bath, and that he's able to conduct a team like that so well, get third place in the top 4. Bristol Bears, they had such an up and down season. They were riding high. I mean, they've got quality, absolutely superstars in their team. Lua Tua is back from injury now. He was out for a while, but you had Gabi Ibitoy in the wing. Yeah, you had Rivovo in the centre in the wing. Rivovo was just phenomenal. The signing of Bill Mata from Edinburgh this season, he's had an absolute standout season. Literally taking names for fun. If you look at his tackle compilation from this season alone, taking names for absolute fun. He's been honestly Fritz Harden. You got Ryan Ransberg in the centres. It's McGinty at 10, phenomenal, and then Harry Randall as well at 9. Who, I mean, I think he's actually a bit unlucky not to get more England call-ups, but that's just the way it goes sometimes. So again, really, really good depth. I've not even mentioned the absolute man, the myth, legend, Mark Slaheath. Now, if you've not heard of Mark Slaheath, I mean, I'm sorry, you've got to look at his social media. He's a funny bloke, but just boys like that, they've got a good kind of, obviously vibes. Vibes don't win you games, but it definitely brings a lot of eyes to the screen, and that helps. Has a knock-on effect there. I mean, Bath speaks for itself. I mentioned it before. They've just absolutely kind of stormed the league. Even their seconds were beating Newcastle, and even just giving teams like Saracens. They nearly beats the narrowly lost to Saracens with their seconds team, and Saracens had their team for the internationals. And again, crazy depth in what's happened even last year, from losing that Prem final to then going and absolutely romping the league and being clear favourites to win the whole thing. I mean, it just kind of goes to show. It does help they've got the best fly half in the world as well. Then they're probably the best 9 in England. Controversial take, but the best 9 in England as well. Running the show there on top of the just absolute carnage fodder in the park, and also just brilliance and just absolute techers in the back line as well. So fair play to them. And then Leicester Tigers, they've just kind of quietly went about their business. If you ask me. They've got the signed Radwan.
Sorry, you're saying that Leicester Tigers have quietly went about their business this season when Michael Cheika is their head coach?
I think they have. They just kind of
It wasn't quiet at the start of the season, Zav. I think you and I both remember how not quiet it was for them at the start.
What was that again? I remember he was fucking Cheika. What was he doing? He was doing something. It was
He
What did
landed
they do
himself in
referee?
hot water, but I can't remember exactly
There
what
was
it was that
something.
he
There
did.
was something. I can't remember. There was something. But honestly, other than that, he's probably had his hands clapped. But they have. They've just kind of been a little dark horse there. They signed Rad1 in the wing, and they've got Haskell Collins in the other wing. Two again, like very promising players. They've, they've got Pollard. I mean, again, I know one of the best players in the world as well, 100 Pollard. And I can say that even though he's South African, just amazing. I mean, sentimentality. Don Coles. I mean, he's now retired. Has he played his last ever game for the Leicester Tigers? I mean, probably. I can't see him getting really picked too much in the semi-final and the finals, but that is just kind of the way it goes, I guess. But no, like I say, they've got a good basis of a team. Are they going to be enough for Sale? It is a home semi-final for them, but I think Sale actually got to pull through. I'm being serious. I think Sale will do it. And in terms of Bath vs Bristol, as much as I'd love to say Bristol Bears, I think Bath will be too much, especially being at the recreation ground. Bath will just see through. Not easy, but they'll comfortable.
Well, you'd like to think that with what I would say, like folks say physicality or whatever, I'd say grunt. The amount of grunt that Bath have up front.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that I can't see anything but a Bath win. Yeah, I mean they'll be looking to try and get everything sorted, like correct last year's wrong by not winning the thing. I'll be very surprised if they don't. And you said it there. They've won the league. They've won the league, like, and they've been streets ahead of everybody else this season. Whenever I
Mm-hmm.
have tuned in,
Yeah.
and yeah,
No, they have been. Literally, nobody's been close. They could have lost a couple of games, but nobody's been close. And like I say, for the past 4 or 5 games, they've been playing their second string team more or less, with a couple of first kind of drip fed in there. Their first are going to be very, very fresh. So that's like an absolute, like, I mean, you would do that if you were in that position. They'd be so fresh because they've had to like kind of battle for nothing. The home final, the whole semi final's been like a given for a while now. So boys have had a chance to like regroup. Any niggles, get over the niggles and that. They'll still be training and keeping sharp. Don't get me wrong, they will be doing that, and I think they will. I think they've won. I think they've won the whole thing. I can't see past anyone else. I think they've won the whole thing, clear as day. And like I say, I guess it'll be a double for them: the Challenge Cup and also the Portaby and also the Gallagher Prem. And I'm hoping they do better in the Champions Cup next season because they'll be in it. I think they'll go far. Semi final, maybe. That's maybe a early prediction. Semi final at least, if not the final. But
who knows?
who knows exactly? That's for next year to kind of go back and think about.
If there is two clubs I have been a little bit disappointed in, and you could probably put a little bit of light onto it, but when I think of England, obviously I think of like Finn Russell and everything with Bath, and it's kind of hard not to think of like say your Leicester Tigers, who are I would say your biggest club in England, and then fair enough Bristol, but it's like where is Saracens and Quins going to this season? You know, you with
Yeah.
about a kind of flair and thoughts about them. I thought they would have been higher up the table.
Going back to how you mentioned like Leicester, the biggest club in England. Historically, no. It'd be like a Man United kind of comparison. Historically, they've won like the most. But so I get what you're saying there. In terms of Saracens and Quins, I mean Quins, I don't know, they just seem to go off the boil sometimes. I mean, they've maybe just not got as many high profile players as the best of the best, if you like, in my opinion. In
It's
terms of
all went
Saracens,
downhill since Joe Marler retired. I knew it.
that is why. No, in terms of Saracens, first Saracens for me, their bubbles kind of burst. They're too predictable. They're still quite efficient in what they do, but they're quite predictable. If you come up against a half decent defence or even better attack, then I just think they've got no real answers. There was actually word of Faz coming back for a bit, but he never. It was just for injury cover when Lozowski was injured. But I think maybe
I'm not sure if he ever will come back to England. I think he might. He may.
there's Ward. There is Ward.
Oh, who's he going to sign to?
There's two. If Newcastle get taken over, that's one, and then back to Sarries. That's the second one I heard. which are the only
Yeah,
two
but he
successes.
left because he was fed up of how overly critical all these English fans were about him
Mm.
on social media.
Yeah. If I was him, I would just stay in France. But I just don't think it's working in France for him, though.
He has been injured. I mean, you can't really do it after one season, but I don't know.
Age, more physical league. Maybe it's the case. He is a physical player himself.
But
But
then he's
anyway,
not
never
playing
mind.
at international anymore.
No, no, but like the French league is a physical league, though.
Yeah, and
Fiji ain't training everywhere, man. Of course you gotta get hurt.
yeah, but to compensate that though, I mean, he's not playing
I,
at
I know,
international level anymore.
I know. Anyway, we'll see. He might be in Test rugby sooner than the Lions. You never know. It might be a late bolter. But back to Saracens, though, they have got so many. First of all, not just England international players, but they've also got like other world class players from other nations. For example, Theo McFarland for Samoa captain, superstar. He is world class. Gonzalez in the back row for Argentina, absolute world class superstar. To be fair, that's maybe the only two. Oh no, they've got Maui at prop, who plays prop for Fiji. Very, very good prop. They've got the boys there. And they've got Jamie George and Theo Darn in the hookers. Depth wise, that's insane. They've got Itoje in second row. I mean, Nick Ezekwe, I've always thought is just a club player at best, but he's all right, Nick Ezekwe. In the back, Andy Christie's back. He was back playing at the weekend after that horrific leg break that he suffered over a year ago. But he's been back for a little bit, but not like proper in it, I don't think. But he was definitely back, and he was looking okay. He was looking okay, but it'll take a while for him to get back to kind of full kind of fitness. But that's just the forwards I mentioned. Andy Good retired.
Andy Good, he retired quite a while ago.
The other Good. There's another Good that plays for Saracens, and he was quite a good player as well. Oddly enough, ironically enough, he was quite good. So there you go. You've got so many players. Just like
There we
there.
are, yeah.
Lazowski as well. I mean, he's getting on a bit. He's been there for a while, but hey, it happens. Van Zyl, the scrum half. You heard of Van Zyl before?
No.
No, he's all right. And of course, at fly half, Buck. Now, if you remember, Buck came over from New Zealand, and he was torn between England and Scotland, and he's been called up by neither, or not been played by either. I know Scotland have showed a real interest. I think he was maybe called up to some sort of Scotland age grade actually. Well, he was very close to doing it anyway, but he's not yet. So he's kind of treading water a little bit just now. Good player, but again, lack of experience in a team that's kind of not falling apart, but kind of lacking a bit of oomph and maybe needs some new leadership. But at the same time, they've got the British and Irish Lions captain in that team, and I mean they're still not too great. They finished sixth in the league overall, which is all right.
Well, at least they won some games.
Who you trying to reference? Could it be Newcastle?
Yeah, don't win a game hardly all season, yet you're still not going to get relegated. Yeah, that's exactly how sport works, and that's part of the reason why I don't like the Gallagher Premiership.
Yeah, that's the one flaw about it. Anyway, okay, right, we've rambled on enough about that. So, Andy, anything else to add before we shoot off?
Just to say, guys, we should have been a threesome tonight. Not sexual. Threesome as in there should have been me, Zav, and a guest. But because of Zav's incompetence, the guest wasn't even aware that we wanted him to come on tonight. So that's by the by, and we'll hopefully get him on very, very soon.
The name remains anonymous. Nobody knows who it is. You'll find out next week. Imagine. I'm not waiting to say that. I'll say it off camera. I would say a threesome with that guest. Anyway, yeah. So, if you know,
Let us know your predictions for this weekend's games. All four semi-finals, albeit in two different competitions. That's why there's four rather than just the two.
Mm-hmm.
And be sure to give Zav some shit in the comments, because why not?
And be sure to tune to next week for our threesome live on the Think Rugby podcast. Well, not live for us on the Think Rugby podcast. Every Tuesday evening, turn on notifications on YouTube, follow us on X or Twitter at Andy Moore and at Think Rugby. Share to a friend if you need, leave a comment. anything you like. Let's grow the channel. That's all from me. All from Andy Moore, I think.
Goodbye.
Thank you. See you later.